Ladies and gentlemen, achievers and dreamers, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt the weight of the world pressing down on your shoulders? That crushing feeling of trying to juggle it all, of running through the day, hoping that somehow you'll come out on top. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do it alone. Starting your day with prayer and inviting God into your plans is one of the most powerful ways to set the tone for everything that lies ahead. It's about intentionally pausing even before the busyness begins to connect with the one who holds your day and your future in his hands. This practice isn't just a ritual, it's a lifeline. It's an act of humility and surrender, acknowledging that you can't do it all on your own and that you need divine guidance to navigate the challenges and opportunities of the day. Prayer is more than words. It's a conversation. When you approach God in prayer, you open a channel of communication with Him. You bring before Him your dreams, your worries, and your to-do list. But it's not just about asking for help, it's about listening too. It's about creating space to hear His still small voice guiding your steps and providing clarity in areas where you might feel uncertain. Inviting God into your plans means recognizing that His wisdom surpasses your own. You might have your schedule neatly laid out, but He sees the bigger picture. When you begin your day by seeking His presence, you allow Him to align your heart with His purpose. This alignment helps you discern which tasks truly matter and which ones are distractions. It's not just about doing more, it's about doing what's meaningful. Prayer also brings peace even before the day begins. Life can feel overwhelming with endless demands and responsibilities pulling you in every direction. But when you take a moment to pray, you are reminded that you are not alone. You're not carrying the weight of the day by yourself. God is with you, walking beside you, and going ahead of you to prepare the way. That reassurance calms the anxiety that often comes with a full plate and gives you the confidence to move forward with faith. As you pray, it's important to be specific about your plans. Lay them before God and ask for His guidance. Whether it's a big meeting, a difficult conversation, or a routine day at work, invite Him into every detail. When you acknowledge God's presence in even the smallest aspects of your life, you'll start to see His hand at work in unexpected ways. You may find solutions to problems you hadn't considered or experience favor in situations that seem challenging. Prayer also helps you approach your day with a spirit of gratitude. Instead of focusing solely on what you need or want, it shifts your perspective to recognize the blessings you already have. Gratitude changes your outlook and fills your heart with joy, which in turn affects how you interact with others and approach your responsibilities. A heart filled with gratitude is more resilient and more open to the possibilities that the day may bring. When you invite God into your plans, it's not about expecting everything to go perfectly. Challenges will still arise, and things may not always go as you hoped. But the difference is that you're not facing those challenges alone. Prayer equips you with the strength, wisdom, and peace to handle whatever comes your way. It reminds you that even in the midst of uncertainty, God is in control and His plans for you are good. Starting your day with prayer is also a way of setting boundaries. It's a reminder to yourself and to the world that you're not defined by the chaos or busyness of life. You are anchored in something greater, something unshakable. That foundation allows you to approach your day with a sense of purpose and direction that transcends the noise around you. Trusting God's timing and guidance throughout the day is a transformative act of faith. It's an acknowledgement that while you may have your own plans and schedules, there is a divine rhythm to life that surpasses human understanding. Trusting God means relinquishing the need to control every detail and allowing Him to lead you through the unfolding of your day. It's about being present, open, and responsive to His direction, even when things don't go as planned or when the timing feels inconvenient. Life often moves at a pace that can feel unpredictable, and it's easy to get caught up in frustration when things don't happen on your timeline. Perhaps a meeting gets delayed, traffic slows you down, or unexpected challenges arise. These moments can test your patience, but they also present opportunities to practice trust. Trusting God's timing requires a shift in perspective. It's about understanding that delays and detours are not necessarily obstacles, but could be part of a greater plan designed for your good. Each moment holds purpose, even if it's not immediately clear. When you trust God's guidance, you start to recognize His presence in the details of your day. This trust allows you to let go of anxiety and rest in the assurance that He is directing your steps. You don't have to have all the answers because you are following the one who does. This trust creates a sense of peace that sustains you through uncertainty. It's not about blind faith, it's about knowing that God sees the entire picture while you only see a fragment. Throughout your day, trusting God's guidance involves being attentive to the ways He speaks to you. Sometimes this guidance comes in the form of a gentle nudge or a quiet thought that prompts you to take a certain action. At other times, it might be a conversation, a scripture, or even a situation that seems to align perfectly with what you need. Recognizing these moments requires a heart that is tuned to His voice, which can be cultivated through prayer, meditation, and reading His Word. Trusting God's timing also means being patient with yourself and others. It's easy to become frustrated when things don't move as quickly as you'd like or when people don't meet your expectations. But God's timing isn't just about events, it's about growth. There may be lessons He wants you to learn or qualities He wants you to develop during the waiting periods. Patience, humility, and resilience are often cultivated in these moments, shaping you into the person you are meant to be. When you trust God, you allow room for flexibility in your plans. You might have a clear idea of how you want your day to unfold, but trusting Him means being willing to adapt when things take a different turn. Flexibility doesn't mean abandoning your goals, it means holding them with open hands and being willing to adjust as God leads. This mindset opens you up to unexpected opportunities and blessings that you might otherwise miss if you were rigidly focused on your own agenda. Trusting God's guidance also impacts your interactions with others. When you trust Him, you can approach relationships with grace and understanding. You are more likely to listen, to be present, and to respond with kindness rather than reacting out of frustration or impatience. This trust helps you see others through God's eyes, recognizing their value and the role they may play in your journey, even if it's only for a brief moment. As you go through the day, there will be moments when you're tempted to take matters into your own hands, especially when things feel out of control. But trusting God means resisting the urge to force outcomes and instead leaning into His wisdom. It's about believing that His plans are better than yours, even when they don't align with what you expected. This trust requires surrender, but in that surrender, you find freedom. You're no longer bound by the pressure to make everything happen on your own. And you can rest in the knowledge that God is working all things together for your good. Releasing control and letting go of unnecessary worries is an act of faith that allows you to experience peace and freedom in your daily life. It's natural to want to hold on tightly to the things that matter to you, your work, your relationships, your future, but carrying the weight of those concerns can be exhausting. Letting go doesn't mean being careless or disengaged. It means acknowledging that there are limits to what you can do and trusting God or what's beyond your control. Worry often stems from a desire to predict and prevent every possible outcome. It's rooted in the fear of uncertainty and the belief that if you just think hard enough or try hard enough, you can make everything work out perfectly. But the reality is that many aspects of life are unpredictable, and no amount of worry can change that. Holding on to worries only drains your energy and distracts you from the present moment, where your actions and decisions have the most impact. Letting go begins with recognizing that you were never meant to carry the full weight of life's burdens on your own. God invites you to cast your cares on Him because He cares for you. This is not a passive act, it's an intentional choice to release your grip on the things that are causing you stress and anxiety. It's about surrendering your need for control and allowing God to take over. This act of trust opens the door for His peace to fill your heart and mind. Releasing control doesn't mean giving up on your goals or responsibilities. It means doing your part while trusting God to handle what is beyond your reach. For example, you can prepare for a big presentation, but you can't control how others will respond. You can be kind and supportive in your relationships, but you can't dictate how others will feel or act. By focusing on what you can do and trusting God with the rest, you free yourself from the pressure of trying to manage outcomes that are ultimately out of your hands. Letting go of unnecessary worries also requires shifting your perspective. Worry often magnifies problems, making them seem bigger and more insurmountable than they really are. But when you choose to trust God, you begin to see your challenges through the lens of His power and promises. What once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable because you know you're not facing it alone. God's presence gives you the strength and wisdom to navigate whatever comes your way. One practical way to let go of worries is to focus on gratitude. When you take time to reflect on the blessings in your life, your mindset shifts from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude reminds you of all the ways God has been faithful in the past, which builds your confidence in His ability to handle your present and future. It also helps you stay grounded in the here and now instead of getting lost in hypothetical scenarios that may never come to pass. Another important step in letting go is to identify the fears underlying your worries. Often worry is a symptom of deeper concerns, such as fear of failure, rejection, or loss. By bringing these fears to God in prayer, you allow Him to address them at their root. He can replace your fear with His peace, your doubt with His assurance, and your anxiety with His comfort. This process requires vulnerability, but it's through this openness that true healing and freedom occur. Releasing control also involves setting boundaries with your thoughts. Worry thrives when you allow it to run unchecked in your mind. By practicing mindfulness and redirecting your thoughts to what is true, noble, and praiseworthy, you can break the cycle of negative thinking. This doesn't mean ignoring your challenges, but choosing to focus on solutions, opportunities, and God's faithfulness instead of dwelling on worst-case scenarios. When you let go of unnecessary worries, you create space for joy, creativity, and growth. You become more present in your relationships and more effective in your work because you're no longer weighed down by the constant pressure of trying to control everything. This act of surrender is not a one-time event, but a daily practice. Each time you choose to release a worry and trust God instead, you strengthen your faith and deepen your reliance on Him. Being attentive to God's voice and following His promptings is a vital aspect of living a life aligned with His will. Every day is filled with countless moments where God may be speaking to you, guiding you, and showing you the path to take. The challenge is to quiet the noise around you and within you so that you can hear Him clearly. This attentiveness requires intentionality, patience, and a willingness to act when He speaks. God communicates in many ways, often in ways that are subtle and easy to miss if you're not paying attention. He may speak through His word, through prayer, through other people, or through the circumstances of your life. Sometimes it's a verse that resonates deeply with you, offering clarity or encouragement. Other times, it's a sense of peace or conviction about a decision you're considering. Being attentive to His voice means being open to these different ways of communication and staying alert to His presence in your daily life. Cultivating a heart that is sensitive to God's voice starts with spending time in Word. The Bible is His living and active message to you, filled with wisdom, guidance, and promises. When you read and meditate on Scripture, you train your spirit to recognize His voice more easily. His principles and teachings become a foundation that helps you discern His leading in specific situations. Regular engagement with His Word creates a spiritual sensitivity that allows you to distinguish between His guidance and the distractions of the world. Prayer is another crucial way to attune yourself to God's voice. Prayer is not just about presenting your requests, it's about listening and connecting with Him on a deeper level. When you take time to be still in His presence, you create space for Him to speak. This requires patience and trust because His answers don't always come immediately or in the way you expect. Sometimes He speaks through a gentle whisper, a quiet nudge in your heart that directs your steps. Other times, he may speak through silence, inviting you to trust him even when you can't see the way forward. Being attentive to God's voice also involves paying attention to the people and situations he places in your path. He often uses others to speak truth into your life, whether through their words, actions, or example. A conversation with a friend, a message from a pastor, or even a kind gesture from a stranger can be a way God communicates his love and guidance. Similarly, the events and challenges you face can carry lessons or opportunities for growth that he wants you to recognize. Listening to God's voice is not just about hearing, it's about responding. When he prompts you to take action, it's important to obey, even if the path seems uncertain or difficult. Following his leading often requires stepping out of your comfort zone and trusting that he will provide what you need along the way. This obedience is an act of faith, a demonstration that you believe his ways are higher and better than your own. The more you respond to his prompts, the more confident you become in recognizing his voice and trusting his direction. Distractions can make it challenging to stay attentive to God's voice. The busyness of daily life, the noise of social media, and the pressure to meet expectations can all drown out his whispers. That's why it's essential to create moments of stillness and reflection throughout your day. Whether it's a few minutes of quiet in the morning, a walk in nature, or a break to pray and refocus, these moments help you reconnect with him and stay sensitive to his guidance. Sometimes God's voice may challenge you to let go of your own plans or desires. His leading may not always align with what you think is best, but trusting him means believing that he knows what is truly good for you. It's in these moments of surrender that you grow deeper in your relationship with him, learning to rely on his wisdom rather than your own understanding. This process is not always easy, but it's through these acts of trust and obedience that you experience his faithfulness in profound ways. Staying attentive to God's voice also requires humility. It's recognizing that you don't have all the answers and being willing to seek his wisdom in every situation. This humility opens the door for him to work in your life in ways that go beyond what you could imagine or achieve on your own. Seeking opportunities to reflect God's love and grace in your actions is a powerful way to live out your faith and make a meaningful impact in the world around you. It's about embodying the principles of love, kindness, and compassion in your daily interactions, allowing others to experience the character of God through you. These opportunities aren't limited to grand gestures. They often appear in the small, everyday moments where your choices and attitudes can make a difference. Reflecting God's love begins with understanding the depth of his love for you. When you grasp the unconditional, sacrificial nature of his love, it transforms your perspective and inspires you to share that love with others. This love is not based on what people deserve or how they treat you. It's rooted in the grace you've received. Recognizing that you are a recipient of God's grace allows you to extend it to others, even in situations where it might feel undeserved or difficult. One way to reflect God's love is by practicing kindness. Kindness doesn't have to be complicated or extravagant. It can be as simple as a smile, a word of encouragement, or a small act of service. These gestures may seem insignificant, but they can have a profound impact on someone's day. Kindness has a ripple effect, spreading positivity and reminding people that they are valued and cared for. When you approach each day with a mindset of looking for ways to be kind, you create an atmosphere of love and warmth that reflects God's heart. Another way to demonstrate God's love is through forgiveness. Forgiveness can be challenging, especially when you've been hurt deeply, but it's one of the most powerful ways to show grace. Holding on to resentment and bitterness weighs you down and creates barriers in relationships. When you choose to forgive, you release those burdens and open the door for healing and restoration. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrong behavior. It's about extending the same grace that God has shown to you, trusting him to bring justice and reconciliation in his time. Your words also play a significant role in reflecting God's love and grace. The way you speak to and about others can either build them up or tear them down. Words have the power to heal, encourage, and inspire, or to wound and divide. Being intentional about speaking life-giving words demonstrates love and respect, even in difficult conversations. It's about choosing to be a source of encouragement rather than criticism, seeking to uplift others rather than pointing out their flaws. Reflecting God's love also means being present and attentive to the needs of those around you. In a world where people are often rushed and distracted, giving someone your full attention can be a profound act of love. Listening with empathy, offering a helping hand, or simply being there for someone who is struggling shows that you care. These acts of presence and support create connections that demonstrate God's love in tangible ways. Grace is another key aspect of reflecting God's character. Grace involves showing undeserved kindness and patience, especially in challenging situations. When someone makes a mistake or falls short, responding with grace rather than judgment mirrors the way God treats us. It's about giving people the benefit of the doubt, extending mercy, and choosing to see their potential rather than their failures. Grace allows for growth and creates an environment where people feel safe to be themselves and learn from their experiences. Your actions can also reflect God's love and grace in how you approach justice and fairness, treating others with dignity and standing up for what is right, even when it's inconvenient or unpopular, demonstrates your commitment to living out God's principles. This might involve advocating for those who are marginalized, offering support to someone in need, or being honest and ethical in your decisions. These choices show that your values are rooted in something greater than personal gain or comfort. Reflecting God's love and grace is not about seeking recognition or approval. It's about being a vessel through which His love flows. It requires humility, a willingness to serve, and a heart that is open to His leading. The more you align your actions with His character, the more others will see His light shining through you. Ending your day with gratitude and thanking God for His presence is a meaningful way to reflect on the blessings, lessons, and challenges of the day. Gratitude is a powerful practice that shifts your perspective, reminding you of the goodness and faithfulness of God, even in the midst of difficult circumstances. By intentionally pausing to acknowledge His presence and express your thanks, you create a deeper connection with Him and foster a spirit of contentment and joy. Gratitude begins with reflection. Taking time to review your day allows you to recognize the moments where God was at work. These moments may be obvious, such as a prayer being answered or a challenge being resolved, but they can also be subtle, like an encouraging conversation, a peaceful moment, or the strength to persevere through a difficult task. Often God's presence is revealed in the ordinary details of life, and gratitude helps you see and appreciate these blessings that might otherwise go unnoticed. Thanking God for His presence involves acknowledging that He has been with you in every moment, whether you felt it or not. He is a constant source of strength, guidance, and comfort, walking alongside you through the highs and lows of the day. Gratitude helps you focus on this truth, grounding you in the assurance that you are never alone. Even on days that feel challenging or overwhelming, expressing thanks for His presence reminds you of His faithfulness and renews your trust in Him. Gratitude also helps you let go of negativity and disappointment. It's easy to dwell on the things that didn't go as planned or the difficulties you faced. But when you choose to focus on what you're thankful for, it shifts your mindset. Instead of replaying the frustrations of the day, you begin to see the good that was present even in tough situations. This practice doesn't ignore the challenges but reframes them in light of God's ability to bring growth, healing, and purpose out of every experience. Thanking God for His presence can also deepen your awareness of His work in your life. As you express gratitude, you may start to notice patterns and themes in how He is shaping and guiding you. Perhaps a conversation or event earlier in the day points to a lesson He is teaching you, or a recurring blessing highlights His provision in a specific area of your life. Gratitude opens your eyes to these connections, helping you see how God is weaving everything together for your good. Expressing thanks to God at the end of the day also strengthens your relationship with Him. Gratitude is a form of worship, a way of honoring Him for who He is and what He has done. It's an opportunity to praise Him not just for the big victories, but for the small, everyday moments that reflect His care and love. This act of worship deepens your intimacy with Him, creating a sense of closeness and trust that carries into the days ahead. Gratitude can also serve as a reminder of God's provision in the past, which builds your confidence in His ability to handle the future. When you take time to thank Him for the ways He has worked in your life, you reinforce your faith in His goodness and sovereignty. This practice helps you approach tomorrow with hope and expectation, knowing that the same God who was with you today will be with you in the days to come. Ending your day with gratitude creates a sense of closure and peace. It allows you to release any lingering worries or unresolved emotions, placing them in God's hands. By focusing on the blessings and lessons of the day, you prepare your heart and mind for restful sleep, free from the weight of stress and anxiety. Gratitude provides a sense of completion, reminding you that each day is a gift from God, filled with opportunities to experience His presence and share His love.